SuperTournament Season 1.
Whew, we're back. I missed you guys. I get
Hasn't been that long.
Cast home syndrome. I got to be around the viewers.
Cast home syndrome.
That's right. So in a little bit here, we're going to go to an interview with our two players. If you're just now joining us, not the most epic series ever with Classic versus Dark. Dark pretty handedly smashed him, but that does mean it's going to be a pretty exciting finals, Artosis.
Yeah.
Because these other two players are Protoss.
Yes, indeed.
You know,
And
Dark's
hopefully
that
they
good.
can put up a better fight, whoever wins here. But it's a PvP first. I think, in my opinion, herO is generally better PvP than Stats, but Stats does have strong PvP. He beats top-end players PvP, but I don't feel like it's a super strength of him against the other top PvP players. Like, I feel like he's at a little disadvantage, but can always pull through, possibly.
So, for herO versus Stats, we should expect everything that's going to be crazy. Hold up, we're going to translate this interview before we go into this match. Let's meet our two players. First is herO. Hello, herO. You're in the top four. What are you feeling? Honestly, before we started the Super Tournament, I wasn't really sure I would actually get this far, but I think I just got to keep playing and see what happens. But you're one of the strongest players, especially in the Super Tournament, including Stats and Innovation. After taking them out, both of them are saying, wow, there's no difference between you and SOS. Well, they think that when they're talking about play styles, SOS is by far the weirdest play style. If they're comparing my style to SOS, that's maybe not even a good thing, actually. Anyways, against Stats, if I don't play that way, I don't think I can win. I think I've got to bring an oddball game. All right, thank you very much. Now let's meet our second player. It's Stats with me. So, Stats, you're here at another semifinals. How are you feeling? Yeah, somehow I got this far. Well, I guess I'm just going to play like I always do. Because your opponent's herO in a PvP, I think a lot of people have high expectations of you. I've heard you've learned a lot from Zest recently. Yeah, after I got to the semifinals, I contacted Zest. Also, Zest faced herO in the round of 16, so I wanted to hear some tips from him. And he was helping me come up with some solutions on how to take on a player like herO. Not only Zest, though, I actually got some tips from Deer as well. I felt like I needed more time to prepare for a match like this, but I think I've gotten enough advice from these other good players and from my friends. So, yeah. Okay, what are your thoughts before this match starts? I'm just going to do my best. That's it. Okay, thank you very much, Stats. Good luck. That does it for the interview.
Okay. He's going to do his best.
So this is...
people find similarities between herO and SOS. Nothing groundbreaking in this interview, but that's fine.
Well, they make money being good at the game. They don't have to be good at interviews as far as I'm concerned. It is.
Well, to be fair, they'll make more money if they are, but that's up to them.
It is interesting to see that, herO, there is this general problem when you face off against herO, which is that he's going to play by his own rules. He doesn't follow a standard meta. He just plays around it. He's very aggressive. If you're not ready for the strategy he's going to bring at you, it doesn't matter how good you are on the ladder. Doesn't matter how many other good players you can beat. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to take him on.
No,
by the way,
it does not.
herO, possibly our coolest player in the GSL, Well, previous Super Tournament, he skateboarded to the studio. Remember that? He was the coolest guy that there was. He just, I'm just going to skateboard to my esports tournament that I'm going to win.
Well, I hang glided here, so I'm actually the coolest.
Yeah. I rode a unicycle, and I'm just not cool. You know, I'm like that weird guy that every college campus had, the guy that rode around on a unicycle.
Tasteless actually.
Not an electronic unicycle, young people.
Tasteless hacky sacked the entire way here. It's 5 miles.
It's crazy.
Didn't hit the ground once.
Well, I would actually be curious to see how long I could make any hacky sack stay.
Did your school have a hacky sack phase? Mine did, where everyone had to have a hacky sack.
Yeah, there was all the same. I was not part of that. It was all the same people that played Ultimate Frisbee. There's a crossover. There's just those esports are very similar to each other as far as the games.
Those esports.
Those esports, yeah.
Just call everything esports
Is
now.
hacky sack really an esport?
Yeah.
If Hearthstone's an esport, why is hacky sack not an esport, guys?
Because you don't use a computer.
It's not a computer.
Someone should make the hacky sack esport.
Do you remember when this would happen, when Hearthstone came out? People would ask us in the studio, but I mean, is it really an esport? I'm like, well, I mean, is it on a computer? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about FIFA? Is it a computer game?
I want to see if someone, if let's say Valve released a hacky sack game that had competitive modes, a video game, right?
Yeah.
How many new pro gamers could we get out of that?
A lot.
Ooh.
Listen, if there's any game publishers watching, you guys need to make a game about an esports caster, okay? There needs to be an esports caster esport game.
Oh, that would be
Imagine
sick.
the people casting the esports caster game. Trying to keep your stamina up.
I want to say I would
Trying to be interesting and not redundant.
I want to say I would be the
Trying
best
to
pro
stay
gamer
off
at
of
that.
Reddit and Twitter.
I think I would get cheesed out, though, in that game.
You think so?
Somehow.
Yeah.
Tasteless
I
have
could see
these
it.
cheese strats.
Artosis was a
But
great...
Tasteless, you just have 3 things you say over and over. You shouldn't be able to beat me at this game.
I know. Somehow Artosis is an amazing caster in real life, but he plays the casting esports game. He's pretty low ranked. Looks like we got a small delay here.
Oh, good. I hope they're using that computer that cost us 27 minutes yesterday.
But we can fill. So, Stats is going to need a little bit more time before we start this match. I actually think herO's going to take this.
Yeah, I lean towards him, but Stats has been proving me wrong a little bit here and there with his PvP. Truthfully, historically, I don't like his PvP against top players. I love it against everyone else. He plays like a great, solid macro style. Like Stats is the guy you actually want to copy to practice on the ladder and get better.
Yes.
But when he plays like the other guys that know how to do everything, I always feel like he's at a little bit of a deficit. He's trying to cover too much. He's not taking as many risks, but he's been mixing it up. He's been adding a bit to his play.
He does not take the initiative like a lot of other players. herO always takes the initiative. herO, you can learn a lot of good builds to beat good players, but you can't. I don't feel like the stuff herO does makes you get number 1 on the ladder. It makes you win tournaments and beat good players.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down, everybody. We love you guys.
Yeah, the studio definitely did fill up today. People excited to see sick day.
Tasting somebody come down here, so I am. You made the right choice.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody.
So this is the obligatory camera pan time saver.
Here are all the people that got
look at our ugly
headsets, and
mugs.
here are the fans that really don't give a crap what Tastosis have to say.
Yeah, some of these fans had earbuds in. They're like, I'm going to get a lot dumber if I keep listening to these guys.
I don't blame
the other
them.
one's heard about the casting esports game when they're already trying to learn C++.
If I came here tasteless as a fan, I would actually get one of the headsets, but then not use it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Or if
Deny
you
someone
wanted
else.
to, if you really don't like our casting, you could still put earbuds in and just not have them plugged in anything.
Yeah.
And be like, say hi on camera. I think this should be a longer series, even though it's PvP. I think it won't be because the classic and dark games. There was some weirdness in there, especially the last game.
What happened in the last game?
He went for the Zealot
yeah.
timing, but then
and it was like
Dark
against
just
2
went
base
pick
roach
2 extra
randomly.
roach, so I guess that
Only Dark can
accidentally
pull stuff like
counters
that
what
off.
you're going to do.
It probably purposefully counters, to be honest.
You think he just tried to blind counter it? That's pretty sick.
Yeah, he might have. And the thing is, he's one of the only Zergs that can actually open 2-hatch roach and play a macro game from there.
Yeah.
He can do it. I don't know. What do you want from me? He can do whatever he wants.
Help you out here.
Are you messing with my pocket handkerchief.
Pocket handkerchief. It was a little bit too far in there.
Yeah.
You were a disaster.
I hope Mark is watching.
Oh yeah, or anybody from ESL's watching this. Why are there cards in front of him?
So, the score then. You say it's going to be close. It has to be a 3-2 is what you're thinking for herO.
I did it. I said it. I'm a brave man.
Okay. Well, you know what? Stats got some help from Zest last night, and I'm like, what do you call it? Like someone who never gives up on someone.
Tenacious.
Like what did the guy call himself in Arrested Development? The guy, a never naked, right?
A never nude.
A never nude.
Tobias was a never nude in Arrested Development.
You know what I am? I'm an always Zest.
You're an always Zest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an always Zest, and I always believe in him. I always think he can beat everybody. And so if he helps Stats out here, even though he lost to herO early on, I think Stats can take out herO because of that.
I forgot about that never nude thing. He's like a guy who can never, ever be naked no matter what. He's like always got his jean shorts on, even when he's showering. That's a great show. I got to go back and watch that again.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was really good.
Stats is back. He's got the hand-warmy thing. In case you're wondering what that is for some of the people.
It's his
who
hacky
don't
sack.
watch. It's not his hacky sack. Oh, you know, it probably could work as a hacky sack, though.
No, it would start to leak, actually.
That is full of little chemicals, and when you shake it, it heats up. And pro gamers like to have warm hands so they can move quickly.
It feels like it's full of sand.
It does.
I figure it's from a nice warm beach, and that's why it's warm.
Mm-hmm. You got it down.
I know all sorts of things about science.
Okay, now we have our fighting game shot here. herO on the top, Stats on the bottom. This is a best of 5, and after this series, we will go directly into the finals. One of these two players will be going up against Dark.
All right. Who has a better shot against Dark?
Stats does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. No explanation.
Any more questions?
No, that's it. Okay, let's start the game.
All right, let's go.
GSL SuperTournament Season 1 Semi-Finals Match 2. Root Gaming, herO.
Elegantly, what does it say going down?
Elegantly fierce.
Ooh,
It's funny because fierce is actually, it starts higher up.
Splice, Stats.
So I kept reading that, and I keep reading it fierce elegantly, and I'm like, well, that's just poor English. Like, what is fierce elegantly? That doesn't make any sense. And then I realized, you know what? I think it's elegantly fierce. That makes a lot more
solved
sense.
it.
And that's a good shirt for him because that kind of describes his play style. It's elegantly fierce.
We're watching now to see
And then if Stats has a shirt like that, he has to wear his Splice jersey, but they should make a shirt for him that says plain going across and then macro going down with the A. It's perfect.
Solid
it's a perfect shirt.
defense.
Well, you gotta make letters overlap so it can look like that, though, right? Plain macro.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, you came for the Terran action. Well, don't worry. You can always watch herO.'s stream, and that's really where it's...
Not too much action there.
Yeah. herO.'s is like, if you watch a stream, it's like, you know in those Die Hard movies where Bruce Willis is bleeding to death the entire time?
Yeah.
The whole movie's getting beaten up by Russian dudes, except in the herO.'s version, in this case, the stream, he just dies at the end. You know, Bruce Willis doesn't actually
die at the end.
Yeah.
But also, like,
Eventually.
when I step on the glass with my bare feet, I pause and I yell and I...
Yeah.
Who put this glass here? Who broke this glass?
Yeah.
Hey, they both open with Sentry Stalker. That's kind of an interesting thing. That's the macro opening generally. That normally means you're going to go Nexus, but occasionally sees people like herO or especially SOS go for aggression off of something like this, you know, whether it's going to be a Stargate or going into DT or something. But we'll see here momentarily. Both sides scouting their opponents. They both looked a little bit for proxies as well this game. Stargate for both of them.
So, actually pretty ordinary openers here.
Yeah, not too wild.
Chance herO wants to just get an idea of how Stats is approaching this right now. Try to get some kind of a read before he starts doing the crazy stuff.
Yeah, herO's playing it more greedily here, and this is a more, well, you can call it more, it is more defensive then because he made the Nexus. But the Nexus is later. He made more Stalkers before it. And
Right.
this kind of shows the difference in the two players that I was talking about before, where you want to copy something for ladder, copy stats. He's playing it safe. He's like, okay, I get the extra 2 Stalkers, because if he attacks the Stalkers here, I can hold. Whereas on herO's side, he's like, you know what I'll do? Is I'll just make the Stargate and a Nexus. If I do everything, he can't stop it all. And it's like, well, you know, you're taking a couple extra risks, but it definitely gives you a lot of power. Now, he's going Oracle against Phoenix from Stats. But they both have sentries, so we should see the sentry scouts going out really soon here. And that makes it kind of interesting. Like, does he scout that this is coming right away?
So this has been mentioned before, but it's kind of funny that sometimes, even though you would look at Phoenixes and say, well, that kills Oracles, sometimes the Oracle comes in and just kills off so many probes that the guy who went for the Oracles is sort of fine with that.
Yeah. If you get 4 or 5, it's fine.
Yeah.
Look, he scouts the Stargate before his Phoenixes went across the map. So now all he has to do is really heavily block the Oracle that comes in. There's 2 Oracles, by the way.
Yep. One was going down towards the bottom part of the map, but actually came back up. Wow. Okay, so Stats is trying to sweep through the very bottom, combing through that area looking for any hidden Oracles. So the Oracles are actually hidden way, way, way at the very top.
Yeah.
Because he knows that the Phoenixes are looking for him.
Yes. They are hiding as much as they possibly can. But from here, Stats has a slight advantage. But it doesn't necessarily need to stay that way. The Twilight is coming up from herO. That makes a lot of sense to go into either DT or Blink from here, because you're playing against Phoenixes. Whereas on Stats side, whether he's playing against Blink or DT, the Forge and the Robo is the perfect counter here. You get the Observer, you get the Immortals, bam. You have a really solid unit composition.
So, with the Oracles hidden there, Stats actually pretty good defense, but just he's really looking for anything. I think herO had a tough choice, and he handled it really well, hiding that. Mm-hmm. And those can come in very handy later on, so make no mistake, just because they're not being used now doesn't mean they don't have equity later on.
And there's a lot of ways that can go down.
Sure.
Detection can be nice, and tagging armies can be nice. You probably won't use it in a main fight.
Or you could even go in and kill the probes later on. I mean, the Phoenixes are going to be used for other stuff as well.
Because the Phoenixes should join up for a battle, and then, bam, you fly in with 2 Oracles, you kill a ton of probes.
So because they're both with Stargate techs, it's a little bit easier to get a third base up. Now, the locations of the third bases are quite different. We have herO taking one that's further out, that's got more minerals.
Yeah.
And Stats is taking the conservative one that's tucked in his base. I mean, these guys are basically going in, playing into the roles of exactly what we said. herO's play is slightly more risky, but does come with more benefits if it pays off. Stats is more cautious. Mm-hmm. However, I'm kind of liking where herO is now.
They're playing exactly how they are.
Yeah.
This is like
that was
exactly
deep.
how they play.
That was deep. All right, put the bong down, Artosis. That was... They're playing exactly how they are.
They are.
Yeah.
This is like... Everything we talked about is being shown perfectly here.
Yeah.
We're
looking great. We're looking really good in this cast.
We're casting exactly how we are, and they're playing exactly how they are.
Yeah, everything is super zen right now. This is great.
The universe moves onward, guys. Okay, the Oracle's actually in the army. It's kind of interesting. You might target down sentries. That's one thing we've seen in the past.
But with 2 Immortals, maybe he should turn around.
Yeah.
Oh! You think he has to? Okay.
Look at that. Not too bad.
Setting up some traps out here. Now, herO knows that there's probably the third base being taken down there, but he wants to make it impossible for his opponent to expand out here. It was a little bit too ambitious there, but he does get that probe.
But just keeping the pressure on is nice because he's saturating his third base. He's getting charge, adding his Forge. These are all very important things that he's taking care of at the moment.
So Stats is beginning to push up. And I think Stats is or herO's eventually going to have to give up this position. But pretty technical stuff here by herO. He's just keeping Stats at home. herO knows he's mining more minerals the longer he's at his third base, where Stats is at that one with there's only 4 mineral patches at Stats' expansion. herO has 8. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just keep them boxed in, and herO should begin to see a lead. And we're already seeing the beginnings of that now that Nexus has been up for a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely an advantage here for herO in some ways, but this is the cool thing about PvP. If you haven't dealt damage to each other, real damage, then one player oftentimes leads in one way and another player leads in another way. So what herO has going on for him is his economy is better. He's gotten his expansions quicker. He's taken better expansions. He's staying kind of out on the map and keeping Stats defensive. But what Stats has is a quicker Forge, so quicker attack upgrades, and an earlier Robo, so he has more Immortals. And as we get closer to large supplies, the Immortals do mean a lot.
So the fact that herO is outside of Stats' base is what's allowed him to keep this position. Not bad at all. Oh, this is sick. Woo! How did it not die? How did it not die?
Shield battery there.
That's crazy. Well, also, he didn't fire the next volley, too, but
I think he got out of
actually
range.
pulled away. Yeah. It looked like every single stalker was not in range, somehow. So now he's being chased back. He took a little bit of a beating. This immediately triggers Stats to go ahead and try to push through. Now the question is, has herO amassed enough of an army that he can actually hold this off?
Huh. There's 4 High Templars here. He didn't get Psystorm, I don't believe, so these must be for feedback? Feedback the Sentries and feedback the Phoenixes, I guess?
Seems like Stats is going to go for it. He does not see those Oracles counterattacking. He's going to bring these in here now, probably try to pick up the Immortals while this fight's going on.
Yeah, charging into these double Stasis Wards, plus the cannons, plus a shield battery.
There's
I think
that
he's going to hold that without any problem.
That wounded War Prism here for revenge. I don't know if he should push in.
No, he's not going to break that.
It's kind of a weird bottleneck position, but, with the cannons behind it.
Yeah. And he's even got 3 Immortals now, so that one thing that Stats really was kind of leading in, he no longer is.
Okay, so he's going to try poking. Oh my god, right when the Stalkers are turning around.
Oh my gosh. He was really waiting for that as well.
Are we going to get a shot of this? Okay, there we go.
That's painful. His Stalkers just left the base.
Okay, but herO decides to dive on top of this. Some of those Zealots were out of commission, if only briefly. But the sheer number of Archons here from Stats is pretty scary. He's beginning to arc around this. herO's now getting bunched up in this corner, which means the splash damage is going to be pretty scary.
Yeah, but he's got those Immortals. He's got the cannons helping out. The Zealots are the real story of this battle. Stats really warping in everything to that main base.
Ooh, gets the Warp Prism. Does Stats have enough to try to commit in this area? I'm not sure he does.
Yeah, he needs another warping around if he's going to have a chance here.
Great force field there. The Immortals just can't micro back quite.
He might hold in the main base, but what about that third? He's still got a few Immortals there, Stats does, so looking very strong. Just targeting down the Nexus, probably going to recall his units from here.
This Nexus is so low. He sent probes over here to try to buy time.
I'm surprised he didn't just finish off the Nexus.
I would have done that, but that's probably why I'm sitting here casting and not winning this tournament. So he goes back.
You would have won this tournament, Tasteless.
You think so? Yeah. GG. Stats wins game 1. Nicely done there by Stats. Now, herO went for a pretty middle-of-the-road opening. He still tried to cut some corners on that path. Sure. But is herO going to do something crazy now? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was really masterfully done by Stats. But the reason he won isn't necessarily because he played very defensively or anything like that. They were tit for tat for a very long time.
Sure.
It was that Prism that went into the main base just as the Stalkers left. And it's not like he spotted that the Stalkers left necessarily. Like, he was trying to time this out. He had a bunch of units at the third. He was kind of posturing there. Obviously he doesn't see the Stalkers there, so he might be thinking, oh, those could be in the main. But when he started really pressuring, that's when he went in, because he knew that herO had to give a lot of attention, and herO was pulling down his Stalkers. So it's true. If he had flown that Prism in before, the Stalkers kill the Prism instantly, and then herO also holds the base, and the game just goes on. So, I mean, it was a good kill by Stats, but kind of an interesting way that he got it.
Stats right now with a 1-0 lead. We're going into game number 2 on the map Backwater. Again, the winner of this series goes on to the finals to fight Dark.
GSL SuperTournament Season 1 Semi-Finals Match 2.
Whew, love that graphic. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh. Ah.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways.
No ID call this time. Moving on. Here at the GSL, we're like a shark. If we don't stop moving, we just die.
Oh, yes. I know it's kind of funny because sharks will sleep their back half or their front half and stuff.
What?
Yeah. Did you know sperm whales sleep vertically?
Oh, actually, I did know that, but
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah. Bet you don't think about that every day, though. You should.
No, I'm not usually thinking about that.
No.
That is cool, though. The orcas have their own language, different dialects. We don't even know what they're saying.
Well, they should have different dialects. They live all over the ocean.
That's right. They're talking to each other all the time.
But do some orca whales hear the dialect of other orca whales and think they sound stupid?
Most
and do orca
definitely.
whales generally think that they don't have a dialect?
Xenophobic orca whales.
I bet you each individual orca whale is like, well, I don't have an accent, it's you.
I think you're onto something,
Yeah.
Artosis. So far, we can't glean too much from what they're doing. We don't see any proxies or anything like that yet, but got to wait for these cores to finish and then see exactly what the unit comps they're going to go for and what other structures they're going to make.
Yeah, kind of like those orca whale accents we don't really know until we know, do we? Double adept from herO. So that could lead us to think that he's going to tech up here as opposed to expand, whereas the double stalker from stats, that can be an expand build, that can be a pressure build. We've seen a lot more 4 gates and stuff being mixed in lately. This is a flat map for the natural, like you definitely can take a third very quickly, but it's not like Blackpink or something where you have to walk up a ramp to attack.
Yeah.
So sometimes doing things like massing up stalkers and just going can be really, really strong.
herO's scouting probe getting chased away.
Ooh, a 4 gate from herO. But Stats is making stalkers non-stop.
Yeah, kids. Oh my God, they're both 4 gating.
What is this, Wings of Liberty?
This is madness. Now, the weird thing about 4 gating, generally speaking, is that you're playing blind. You don't know exactly what they're doing, but if they're doing anything that's not aggressive or not super safe, you can run them over.
Yeah.
Now, if they're both 4 gating, what do they end up just crashing into each other with a ton of stalkers and then have to back off?
Well, it looks like what happens is Stats crashes into herO and just wrecks his units and his warping pylon.
So herO's play has now been exposed, especially with this. herO's now retreating back. Is going to be in a defensive 4 gate. Now, Stats is put his pylon out there. No, the fact that there was already a little bit of damage that was done, ouch, spots that hidden pylon as well. Stats is killing it this game.
Yeah, look at herO. He's having to throw down a shield battery at this point. It's kind of interesting. Like, Stats is not even afraid. He's just going to go for it. He's not, like, at this point, I could imagine you thinking, oh, is he, like, he's trying to warp in a pylon. Could this be DT or something? But I think he's reading the amount of units well, the type of way that herO's microing around as well.
He's coming in now. He needs to turn these stalkers around. They're on the run. Very good targeting here. One of the stalkers nearly taken out. They're retreating up the ramp. There's no sentry here. Stats immediately pounces on the pylon. There's not a ton of pylons out right now, so that's going to supply block herO. Another warping will come in.
Yeah, if there was a sentry up that ramp, he would get super punished. There wasn't, so he actually could have maybe finished the game off there. Now, herO, knowing that he's lost his ramp, goes into Twilight. This makes a ton of sense because this will actually allow him to get out of his base. Probably he'll be going into Blink, considering how many stalkers he has.
I would imagine.
Yeah,
I mean, herO's capable of doing anything. I guess DT would be really unpredictable, but yeah, I think just seeing the number that he has right now, stalkers with Blink would make the most sense.
This is so predictable, though, as you say, and Stats getting a Robo and going into a Nexus behind this is exactly how you want to play. You want to make sure you're not going to lose to anything silly. He has a lot of stalkers, so you're going to want Immortal as well, and the silly thing, of course, is DT. And other than that, you've slowed down their base, so your base is going to be quicker. You have an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, they're staying true to what we were saying their playstyles were. But like I'm saying, Mr. Freeze is using his ice powers here because he's Mr. Freeze. Batman, well, he throws batarangs.
Yeah, that's what Batman does.
He does he drives a nice car too.
Protects Gotham.
Yeah. So Stats backs up saying, okay, I've got my Nexus up before you. Let's just play it safe. herO needs to do something. Now, Blink is a little bit under halfway done.
Yeah. Let's see how these force fields go, though.
Yeah. Now, Stats does not have Blink, guys, so it's possible for herO to dice up some of the fights and try to pick off Stats' army. But if you look at the sheer number of units Stats has, I'm not sure that's really possible.
Yeah, especially if he adds like one Immortal into here, it's going to become even harder. The Sentry's going home, so Yeah, hero's going to expand much later than Stats here, starting it as the Nexus of Stats finishes.
You have to wonder if Stats is just, I was going to say, trying to come out here and just cut this up. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, boy.
That should be the game-ending move there. GG. Stats takes it 2-0.
Well, 4-gate versus 4-gate, and Stats comes out on top.
Why is it whenever we go to Stats after he's won a game, he looks like he just woke up from a nap?
He's a pretty chill dude. He really is. Very happy guy as well. herO, on the other hand, he's elegantly fierce is the best way I can think to describe him.
You're on to something. So we now move to Game 3. Very short history so far today. I mean, these guys have just... All the games have been pretty short. We're just barreling towards the finals. I'm hoping that herO can start to at least begin a comeback. I just want to have some more games here, but compared to the rest of the days of the Super Tournament, we seem to be moving very quickly. Our map is going to be on Eastwatch.
A very long map here. Really, it's PvP, though, so anything can happen. Who's going to cheese, Tasteless? One of these guys is going to cheese.
herO's going to do it.
herO, you
But
say.
Stats might do it as well. I mean, he's got some wiggle room with a 2-0 lead and a best of 5. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, our game's loaded up. herO versus Stats, Game 3 again. Dark waits in the finals. Before we can close this Super Tournament, let's go.
GSL SuperTournament Season 1 Semi-Finals Match 2. Group Gaming, herO. Splice, Stats.
It would be pretty crazy if Stats is able to 3-0 herO. Because Stats just keeps on popping up at the top of every tournament, just like last year. He's really kind of making a name for himself. He hasn't had the kind of like bullish domination of some of the top Protosses that we've seen. Like if you look at MC, Rain, Zest, you look at those guys, you're like, well, when these guys were winning, man, they were crushing everyone's face. It was crazy.
You know what's funny about Stats is a lot of his games, he's not that fancy. It's just when the dust settles, he has more units. And he wins. It's like, oh, you're just really clean and efficient with how you approach this, and seem to have a better understanding of how to react. There's a lot of stuff you could tell that Stats is seeing that it's hard to really break down, for instance, in a cast. He just overall has a better game sense.
Yeah. He might have a slightly better build order, or he just like defends all your stuff well.
Yeah, but he knows where to place his army before a fight. Just these little things that aren't the most exciting things to talk about necessarily, but he's
well,
just
for
good.
me they are, but like it's harder for a player like that, I think, to get as many fans as the flashy players.
Like Beyond or something.
Yeah, well, definitely Beyond. To keep it within Protoss, I would say like an MC, of course, who was best Protoss in the world for quite some time, but he's like getting in everyone's face all the time, plus he has a huge personality. Whereas, you know, with Stats, it's like, damn, he's just always at the top of tournaments. He's so good. And there's nothing flashy, as you say. But see how they go down. Stats is actually throwing down a Twilight rather quickly here.
Yeah, Twilight on the way here. I'm sorry, herO did not scout, right? herO's staying back. I didn't see the probe on the map, so I'm assuming that's a no.
Wasn't really paying too much attention to that, but he's going triple sentry here, and that's going to give him ridiculous scouting intel. Now, he's also making the shield battery because he is going triple sentry, so like if you just get attacked by like 3 units, you'll lose. But I wonder what his follow-up plan with this is. You can play a very good macro game off of all these sentries. Ooh, he trapped one. Nice. Very worth 2 force fields there.
Yeah, taking these units out early on is definitely the way to do it.
And look at this nice defensive play into that Robo. His Nexus quite a bit quicker.
Stats is continuing to come up here in pressure. Now those force fields slow down how much you could scout with the hallucinated Phoenix. So that's something else to keep in mind.
Ooh.
And now we have a Forge coming
chills.
in.
Chills.
Yeah.
I have chills right now because Stats is so good. So let's talk about this for a second. he makes a Twilight. And we saw him do this recently as well, something like this, where he got Blink and only 4 Stalkers. This game, he's not even starting Blink because he got up the ramp and he saw how many sentries there were. And he's like, oh, well, you're probably going Robo with this. You're playing very defensively. Nothing I do with this Twilight is going to do anything. He just acts as if he doesn't have a Twilight. He gets 2 sentries of his own, and he gets a Forge, and knowing he can get ahead on the upgrades. Like, from stats, I'm looking at this.
This is really, really advanced because he had a certain build order, and he just looked at this and said, wait a minute. Ditches the tech.
He kicked it over a cliff.
He's like, okay, whatever. I'm going to drop this tech entirely. I'm going to completely shift gears into another game because I'm looking at what you have and I'm saying, oh, no, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's actually a better way to do this. Even though I made a tech building that I'm not using, which would, I think, to most people who know anything about StarCraft, you'd say that's not efficient, that you're losing money. But this is, he's actually that advanced. Now, herO's coming to poke out. Oh, look at that. He never even made that. He didn't even spot that tech was there.
herO is moving out, though, and he has a lot of sentries. This is not the greatest map for these force field pushes because you have to go uphill, but it's not that bad because the ramp is pretty tight.
Okay, so he's going to ferry these units over the rocks, begin a warp in, spotted immediately by Stats. Stats needs to gear up, get into a good position here. 1 hallucinated Colossus coming up as well.
Yeah, that's going to give him vision here on the top ground very easily.
It's not to trick him at all.
Yeah. Great force fields. Wow, he catches 3 sentries. Very good execution here by herO, immediately snapping those up. Such valuable units as well. And look at this.
He's going to force field the ramp.
God.
Oh, it's so good.
No. It's
I'm sorry. All the sentries are down there.
Yeah.
My bad.
That was a very good warp in right there. If he had not had a warp in at that moment, he's going to lose a lot of probes. Well done. herO, on the other hand, here adding a ton of gates and going for glaives. He has this map control. Wow. Look at these calls from these 2 players.
This stuff is so advanced. This is seriously so sick. So he's getting up to 6 gateways now, getting glaives, getting immortals. Stats' setup might allow him to get into a healthier position if this game goes on for super long, but herO really wants to come in here with a powerful punch, trying to keep the worker count as low as possible. Here for Stats, trying to harass, just get any damage off. By the way, the worker count is 43 to 43. But you can see there's Zealot legs coming. There's an attack upgrade for Stats. herO is not doing any of that. No. He's just making gateways. He wants to come in here with a crushing attack.
He's going to shade just on top of the army and see if he can kill him. And he might do it. This is going to be a huge amount of units. And, I mean, Immortals are okay against Adepts, but when you get this many Adepts, you're spending all this money on these kind of expensive high-end units and upgrades, which aren't going to come into play that much.
So the Immortals are beginning to warp in. Now there's 5 more gateways for Stats on the way, but this attack's going to start before those gateways finish, basically. So there's a window of time where herO can really come in here and punish him. Man. He's got the Immortals in the Warp Prism. He's going to warp right in over here.
Oh, my God.
He triggers the Guardian Shield. Now the Immortals drop over here. He's going to gun down this pylon. Because it's powering the Forge, it's getting the attack upgrade, which is handy. Stifling the situation here for Stats. Some Stalkers come up. Now he's shaded in with these Adepts, not completely comfortably, but it looks like he's going to get a really good surround here. I think herO just did it.
Yeah,
this
really
is such a sick play.
So well done by herO.
Wow, GG.
Wow.
That was really cool.
This game, the back and forth and decision-making of both these players just showing PvP can be such a beautiful matchup. If you just look at these little things, they scout this and then they change this, and then you scout this and you say, oh, here's my opening. Here's where I can do something that's, maybe there's a little risk with this Adept all in, but damn did he pull that off. Really so well done. I love the Immortal drop in the main base. That was like, that's kind of like what made it work. You have to pull units up or the Immortals will kill everything. If you pull any units up, the Adept all in is just going to smash you in the natural.
We don't get to point it out too often, but just having that hallucinated Colossus to see up on the high ground for that very specific moment to try to come in there, get the force fields up. These guys are so good. And you know what? They're staying true to their play styles. Like we were saying, Stats kind of trying to get ahead in the long run. herO just looking for an opening to try to close it out. Map number 4 will be Acid Plant. Okay, a battle for who will control all the acid this plant creates. Now, Stats is still 1 win away from closing this out. herO's beginning to bring the results. It's going to be tough. Stats is doing a really good job reading his opponent.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready. Let's go to game 4.
GSL SuperTournament, Season 1, Semi-Finals, Match 2. ro Gaming, herO. Splice, Stats.
Really loved that last game. Just want more of that. Give me more of those crazy calls. Oh, I have a Twilight? Yeah, no, I don't. I just have a slower Nexus. That's all I have.
It's crazy. It's crazy in a mirror matchup when you consider they both start out with the exact same pieces, the exact same stuff, and the game goes in a different direction. One player looks at the other one and what he's doing and says, wait a minute. Ditches his tech, switches into something else because he's so confident he can actually out-navigate him. Now, the fact that herO made such a decisive play means he still came in there and killed him. There's a chance herO would have killed him even if Stats had done a more steady normal tech and not mixed it up.
Oh, yeah.
That's how aggressive and crazy of a play that was from herO specifically.
In my opinion, there is no doubt that Stats made the right choice by going with the tech route that he chose after the Twilight, based on what he scouted. But then herO's killer instinct, man.
Yeah.
Serious. So, not seeing what tech they have until these cores are done. Probes stand around as long as possible. A couple of depths coming out from herO, giving himself that kind of flexibility to buy another tech structure quickly.
Now, herO in this game, he saw that he was able to get in there and punch a hole through. And some of that was not just the fact that the idea of the attack, it was how he executed it. Having the Immortals drop into that main base and then shoot down the pylon, versus having them try to push up into the front. He really identified, okay, what units does he have? For instance, the Immortals of Stats can't just scramble up the ramp and save the main. And, Immortals, sounds kind of stupid. Immortals are not bad against other Immortals, right? They can take them on whereas Stalkers can't. But the fact that he knew the Immortals are slow, the only other things that can run up there are like some of the Stalkers of Stats.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, great. Well, then my Adepts are going to surround these Immortals. Like, it was a very technical takedown.
It really was. And the thing is, if you're trying to just break the front with everything you have, is that likely to work? Like, Stats knows he has to force field the Immortals out so they don't shoot or he'll lose.
Stats is going to control that pretty damn well and quite possibly just hold him off just based off finesse. But herO's very good at these attacks and thinking on his feet. He's basically got, I guess along with Beyond, some of the best. I mean, when you think of Protoss, he's got the best unit control. Ooh.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right about that.
You give him a certain set of units, he could very quickly, at a glance, look at his opponent's army, the position of everything, what abilities his units have, and then say, okay, got it, send me in. And then he comes in and takes him out.
Yeah, this game, both players going for Stargate after chasing out their opponent's probes. We see the Adepts all being caught, actually, by Stats here. And now an Oracle against Phoenix. So Stats has, quote-unquote, the upper hand. See what this Oracle gets done, though. Looks like there's going to be a bit of a push here from Stats. Not a lot of units. He has, oh man, the Phoenix is sitting here waiting for the Oracle as well.
Ooh, okay, he's already in. He's got to commit. He's not getting good shots up. Whoa! Meanwhile, Stats is up here, hitting at the natural expansion. So there were 5 probes killed there in Stats' base. Looks like herO narrowly defends the push there from Stats. Stats, though, continuing to bank up Phoenixes.
And the second Oracle coming down into the natural. There's only 1 probe there at the moment. So this Oracle not going to do nearly as well. It's going to get maybe 2 kills. Yeah,
nice. Well, Stats is looking pretty scary. Now, the fact that those Oracles are no longer in the game, and therefore not a threat for a counterattack, the number of Phoenixes continue to grow here for Stats, as well as his ground army. herO's natural base could be under a real threat.
Yeah, I mean, 4 Stalkers plus these lifts, you have enough to lift every single Stalker here.
Look at this. Now the probes are coming out. The Phoenixes are going to back off. Now he might wait for another. Okay, he waits for the next cooldown. Gets in there. he's pulling it off. Takes out that that initial Stalker.
Good micro by here. He's trying to target down Phoenixes here.
It's actually crazy how well he's controlling this, considering the deck is stacked against him in this fight. Now, herO comes in with these Adepts.
Oh, man.
He needs to gun down as many probes as possible. This can really curb the advantage that Stats had here. Right now, Stats is at 25 workers to the 37 of herO. The only thing that Stats had going for him was the opportunity to try to come in and do an attack of his own.
Yeah.
But herO's actually buying time with that.
The Adepts just doing a gigantic amount of work for this game right now. Sure, he can use his Phoenixes to lift up some probes and get probe kills here, but then their energy is gone. This was more efficient harass from herO throughout the game so far.
Yeah, and herO already has momentum with the number of workers that he has. So when you take out those workers, then there's not much else you can do. The energy's gone. You can't use them for an attack if the energy's gone. They can't pick up any more Stalkers. herO's handling this brilliantly, keeping that 10-worker lead alive, and actually taking to third base, which is a great response because there are so many Phoenixes. The Phoenixes can't pick up the Nexus and take it out, and so there's really nothing to stop him from making another Nexus. And even if there are more probe kills, whatever, herO's got another Nexus. He's making more probes anyways.
Well, the Phoenixes staying active here as Immortals are being pumped out. Blink is going to be finishing for herO, so the Phoenix harassment does get a lot harder at that point. Chasing down one of these Adepts at least. Oh, or not microing that quite well enough.
Again, herO comes in trying to chip away. Now, he wants to be careful not to overextend too much with some of these units, because Stats is still the player that's not losing any army here. The Adepts of Stats are coming up. Really good control here by Stats, by the way. Now, Stats is beginning to do enough damage to these workers that things are starting to even out. 40 workers to 37. Stats just shy of catching up here to herO, at least for now.
It is interesting that you bring up that Stats isn't really losing army, because he's even focusing down Stalkers a lot of the time here. Like, he's really kind of killing army with his Phoenixes as opposed to probes, which is not a very common thing to see.
Right.
Part of the plan, I guess.
Now, herO has a small part of his army. It was at the very south. He wants to try to, if Stats tries to move out, he wants to run into the main and just get more kills on whatever he can. Really, you can't hit that from there? That's crazy. Okay, so, and this is what we're seeing right now. Here's that counterattack I was talking about from herO. He's coming up now. Just avoid the Immortals, blink away from them, and keep shooting down workers. That's all you need to do. Oh, wow, he kind of boxed himself in here.
Yeah.
Oh, just blink to the left.
Yeah, with those two Immortals, that's even worse.
Yep.
Okay, now his army remains tiny, like you said.
I think Stats might come in here and roll him, man.
Could be.
I think herO, what he's doing has been really fancy. It's been really impressive to see. But is he going to lose the math game?
Huh. You know what? I think it's like a really hard call to analyze this, because it's been like a lot of action back and forth, a lot of probes dying on both sides. I think for Stats to look in and say, you just don't have a very big army. Because I would have liked to see him actually keep those Phoenixes, not lift up the probes, and then go attack. Because he would have been able to lift almost every unit. Plus, he has Immortals, so...
So we have the 4 DTs coming up.
Oh, is that a 4 DT drop?
I believe that was 4 DTs I saw.
Oh my gosh.
So he's going to try, he's saying, hey, look at me. Chase me. I'm over here. You want this pylon, right? And then...
you could lift up my Stalkers with those Phoenixes.
And then where's the Warp Prism? And meanwhile in his head he's going, oh shit, because he's going to lose this Warp Prism, which is actually over. No, it's going into the acid.
Oh no. That's where all DTs
fell into
belong.
the acid on the plant.
Yeah. herO really got a sad look on his
Can you imagine
face
those DTs melting in acid? Wow.
God.
Like 4 T-1000s going down.
I was thinking more of Jack Nicholson as Joker, but
okay.
Come out even stronger and crazier.
Well, not this time. They're just dead.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
No, nothing can change that, Artos. So herO's still got a position where Stats is not going to be exactly comfortable moving out, but with that victory over... Okay, here we go.
Yeah, see that? He's lifting up so many units. It's crazy.
Okay, I think herO's just going to push through and win.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to stop this many Immortals when your army is mostly Stalker-based and you mostly don't have any more Stalkers.
Okay, Act 2.
Is that 4
Was
more
the
DTs?
sequel better than the original? I don't know. I'm just going to tell myself it is.
I think it actually is, though.
Can we get a click on it?
No.
No.
You fool.
How long have you been doing this, Tasels? I think that's great that he's going to try this drop. There are really only 2 pylons there powering everything in that base. Okay. He warps back home. You know what? herO just bought himself a little bit more time in this game.
Oh, he brought
but
the
these
Phoenixes.
Phoenixes are going to still get this warp prism.
Wait, where?
What happened?
Oh, he recalled the DTs.
Oh, sorry, guys. We've never done this before.
Yeah.
Okay, so he actually saves the DTs and he flies the warp prism back.
DT Blink, yes! It's the only chance to come back.
Right.
DT Blink. Well, he's made 8 DTs so far this
Now,
game.
Stats goes right back to where he started. He's trying to push through here. And I am very worried for herO. I think the muscle in Stats' army is not something that herO can try to outmaneuver, even if he does have the best control. I think
if he doesn't target down the Observer, the game's over.
Archons in the front that are hallucinated just to soak the damage.
Yeah. Look, he's just going to target the Observer. That's it. And he didn't get it. See?
Yeah.
And that is that then.
Okay.
There's nothing you can do from here.
I think we pretty much have our winner.
Look how many DTs he has.
Yeah, he's hoping that
he's got to wait for DT Blink.
Try one more time to do this. This is cute.
Yeah,
counter attack over here. God, herO really is quite creative.
Well, he knows the only way that he really has a chance, and then he goes for it.
Okay, the one observer's out.
God, I've really enjoyed this series, actually, even though Stats kind of took it a little bit one-sidedly.
Wait, does he not have... No, he has detection. Okay.
Yeah, well, he got DT Blink, so he had to use it, right?
GG. Yeah, you're right. That's just for the fans out there.
Yeah.
Okay, we got our finalists.
Okay. It's going to be Stats going up against Dark. Very solid stuff.
This is going to be so good.
Yeah, herO not making the finals of his 3rd Super Tournament in a row, unfortunately. But you know what? Top 4, very good showing. He took out amazing players on the way, right? He took out Zest, and then he took out Innovation. He cleared the way for these guys.
Well, this is a finals that anybody can get behind.
Yeah.
Dark versus Stats. Dark complaining that Protoss is OP, though he very well may win this entire tournament.
Yeah, I think he will, but we'll see how Stats can go up against him. His PVZ is very strong. I don't expect him to die to any of these cheeses that Dark has been showing either.
Yeah, I don't
like this
think
proxy
so.
hatch thing. I don't think it's going to happen in this.
No,
this best
no, I don't think he's going to do that this time around. But look, Classic and herO both brought the best that they could. I think herO had a rough start to get things going. It seems like as good as herO is with his very specific builds that often involve engaging the opponent before he's then able to execute whatever he practiced, Stats is really at this level where he can play the conservative game even against the craziest players like herO, usually out-navigate them and then get a win.
Yeah. Well, this has been a very fast round of 4 overall.
This is almost a little bit too fast for how long the first 3 days were.
That can be good, though, because sometimes that means that our finals is going to be even better. Just historically speaking, when we have like kind of a fast, not as good round of 4, finals is generally what pays off because the players are in such good shape.
Also, Artos and I have talked about this. A lot of times when we have very good semifinals, our finals is not that good. But if we have pretty quick semifinals, we usually have a good finals match.
Yeah.
So this finals, it will be a best of 7. We are going to have a break longer than normal, but don't go away. We'll be right back here with the Super Tournament finals.